Hello, hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. So today we're going to be talking about my least favorite event in the game, the latest iteration of the Deck of Fate, specifically the Adventure Deck of Fate 2 for 2026. And unfortunately, you can kind of guess where my head's at based off that statement, but the main allure of this particular Deck of Fate is art or accessories from swift parry and deflection, i.e. the ones you can only get outside of this event, I guess, from finishing in Platinum Arena, which is of course inaccessible to a majority of the player base. So not too excited about this particular event. And to put it in context, I personally have been saying, at least to myself, that I'm sitting on a decent amount of Soulstones overall, and I'm kind of been wanting to pull, and I said I was going to pull for the next boosted rates event, whatever it may be, within reason, I guess. And yeah, this one is unfortunately not really within that reason, but we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. So Decks of Fate, for anyone who doesn't know, there are 40 cards in every single deck, and in this particular instance, the breakdown of the cards is 14 common, 14 rare, and 12 epics, and you can see all of the various rewards here. But yeah, accessories from the deflection and swift parry set. Again, outside of this, you can only get these from finishing in Platinum Arena, which is inaccessible to 99% or more of the player base. Plus, and this was kind of the nail in the coffin for me, is that you're going to get a bunch of random stats that may or may not be good, and it's going to be split randomly across all 16 of the factions in the game that we have now. So the odds of you getting 3 pieces that can potentially make a set in one faction is horrendously unlikely. It's possible, I guess, but it's horrendously unlikely, and the only way to maximize your chance of doing that would be to flip every card in the deck, and that just seems like a really, really big gamble for a potentially low return. So yeah, there's my opinion on the reward space here. But yeah, in terms of the Deck of Fate itself, the main gimmick, of course, is that if you get 3 of a kind in a row, you can roll on these respective rarity tables. And the good part is, at least, that this is one of the Decks of Fate where you do have the pinning feature, which in context of having 12 epic cards means that you are guaranteed, if you flip every card in the deck, to get 4 rolls on the epic table, and you can potentially get some of these goodies here. So as we discussed, the main source of getting points is of course going to be summoning for souls from Soulstones, but you can also get a little bit of credit from running Dungeon Divers. There is a fusion going on right now, so if you're in the Fire Knight in a few days, champion training as well, that might overlap a little bit with this, but you can be running some dungeons for the fusion to get some points here and there. But predominantly, the event is meant for you to get the bulk of your points from the Soulstones. And in fairness, these are some of the better rates, I should say, in terms of amount of points per Soulstone. The Nerf player here, which is the metric I use to kind of grade the return of points of Soulstones relative to the peak values we've seen, this is at 90%, so that's kind of as good as it gets in more recent years. But Mortal Soulstones give you 90, Immortals give you a 900, and then Eternals can give you 4 to 500. But of course, on top of all of that, there are boosted rates in the portal for Mortal Soulstones, 2x chance on 4 to 6 star perfect souls. So you do have better chances to get higher rarity stuff, but you're also kind of rolling with the base rates of the Mortal Soulstones here. So most of the time you're going to get rares and epics, and then a couple of times here and there you're going to get legendaries and mythicals, and then you can try your luck to roll towards the higher end of the spectrum for the rank. But still, again, most of them are going to be 1, 2, and 3 stars despite the boosted rates. So you could definitely rip through a ton of Soulstones and get absolutely nothing, which is kind of the way I pictured or thought about this event, that I don't want to risk a bunch of my Soulstones just to get nothing, and then a bunch of accessories that I don't really ever plan to use. But with all that said, I am curious how you guys feel about this event. You know my opinion, but that's not necessarily a prescription of how you should feel about this. This could be, objectively speaking, a decent time to just rip through your Soulstones, rip through your Mortal Soulstones more specifically, and you just get what you get. You flip whatever cards. It doesn't have to be all of them. You could pull 100, pull 150, pull 200, however many you have, and just walk away with your rewards from the Soulstones, and that could be good enough for you. To me personally, that's just not a good gamble, just because, again, for me, like, the worst possible outcome is that I pull my Soulstones and I get absolutely nothing, and then I get a bunch of useless accessories, and that just kind of feels bad. And then the next Deck of Fate has something that I actually would want, like a good guaranteed champion or some other gear set that's a little bit more enticing. Like, honestly, if this was like Pinpoint, which they haven't brought back for a couple of event dungeons now, Chronophage would be tempting. Even like Bolster, some of the Forge Pass sets would be good. I probably would have done it, just because, like I said, I'm relatively antsy to pull Soulstones during a good return event. But yeah, this one is just not it for me personally. But let me know in the comment section down below how you guys feel about this event. Are you going to be pulling some of your mortals, all of your mortals, and just kind of getting what you get? What is your approach when it comes to this iteration of the Deck of Fate? That is going to do it for the free-to-play review of the Adventure Deck of Fate 2 for 2026. And as always, if you did find this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help out the channel. And feel free to hit the subscribe button down below as well, if and only if you're enjoying the content overall on the channel for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching and have a good one.